Behind the tough walls of some of the world's toughest jails, there's a chilling story to be told about dangerous women who break the rules and do scary things. Who are these mysterious prisoners that scare us? What bad things did they do to end up there? Let's find out. Number 1. Shayna Hubers. This real-life psychodrama revolves around the murder of her boyfriend, Ryan Poston, and the secrets of their tumultuous relationship, a toxic and abusive romance that culminated in a shocking murder. Shayna Hubers found herself on trial, facing the chilling accusation of killing Ryan Poston. Her defense? Self-defense, claiming she was a victim of his abuse. But as the trial progressed, her actions and behavior left everyone questioning her sanity. During interrogations, Hubers' behavior was eerily unusual. She was caught singing and talking to herself as if rehearsing an act for an unseen audience. Not exactly what you'd expect from a murder suspect, right? As the trial unfolded, witnesses came forward, some of whom were once close to Hubers, painting a different picture. They testified against her, including her former cellmate, adding fuel to the prosecution's case. Initially, Hubers was handed a hefty 40-year prison sentence with the possibility of parole after 34 years. But just when you thought the story had reached its climax, a Hollywood-style twist emerged. A member of the jury turned out to be a felon, raising questions about the fairness of the trial. This led to a reinvestigation of the case, but it didn't change Hubers' fate entirely. Even though she skillfully managed to have her sentence reduced, making parole a possibility after 17 years, the court remained unable to overlook the chillingly cold-blooded nature of her heinous act. Despite her efforts at mitigation, the gravity of her offense weighed heavily in the eyes of the law. Number 2. Shelby Isaac bought hair extensions from Eddie Tate and Edwina Thomas. But when she wanted to return them, things took a sinister twist. Instead of handling it like any ordinary disagreement, Isaac's response was nothing short of madness. She reached for a weapon and unleashed a hail of bullets on Tate and the then-pregnant Edwina, resulting in the tragic death of their unborn child, too. Believe it or not, Isaac almost managed to escape justice, as her charges were initially dropped. But fate had other plans, and a grand jury stepped in, reinstating the charges. In court, the drama escalated to new heights when Isaac seemingly couldn't face reality. She dramatically collapsed under the table, leaving everyone bewildered. Some questioned if it was an act, but the judge and jury carried on with the proceedings, undeterred by the theatrics. The verdict was in, and the consequences were dire. Shelby Isaac was sentenced to 30 years behind bars for her unforgivable crimes. As she serves her time, she'll have plenty of opportunities to reflect on the tragic events that stained her hands with innocent blood. Number 3. Blair. Meet Michelle Blair. A woman whose actions redefined the phrase, "Hell hath no fury like a woman scorned." This real-life horror story unfolded in Detroit, Michigan, leaving the nation stunned. Picture this: a threatened eviction, an ultimatum to find a job. But Michelle Blair chose a different, gruesome path. The police were called to investigate her home, and what they stumbled upon was beyond anyone's worst nightmare. Inside her freezer were the lifeless bodies of Stephen and Stoney Blair, her own children. Shockingly, these innocent souls had been dead for 3 long years. As the trial unraveled, Blair's defense was just as spine-chilling as the crime itself. She claimed she was purging demons that had sexually abused her children, but the court found no evidence to support such a dreadful notion. Her lack of remorse and disturbing nonchalance in court sent shivers down everyone's spine, even interrupting the judge without care. Prepare to be horrified as the details of the killings emerged: suffocation, skinning, forcing them to drink Windex, and pouring boiling water on them. Such barbarity left the nation outraged and seeking justice for the innocent souls lost. Michelle Blair showed no signs of stopping, even boldly admitting in court that she would do it all over again. However, her reign of terror was cut short when she was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. Number 4. Alison Weaver. The chilling story begins with a fateful encounter with Alison Weaver, a woman under the influence of drugs and alcohol, leading to a nightmarish ordeal, and a seemingly harmless invitation turns into a living hell. As the woman went home with Weaver, the situation took a sinister turn. Weaver's intentions were anything but innocent as she tried to seduce her guest. What followed was beyond comprehension, a horrifying assault that left the victim with bite and strangling marks and her ear partially bitten off, all while enduring the unspeakable horror of sexual assault. In court, the victim was brought to tears, recounting the trauma she endured. "My life changed forever when I let Alison Thompson Weaver in my home," she bravely shared. Despite Weaver's apology, it could never heal the deep psychological scars she inflicted. The judge, no stranger to harrowing cases, described it as the most horrific in her career. Shockingly, Weaver received a sentence of only 10 to 15 years, leaving many people appalled at what seemed like a lenient punishment. However, there was one silver lining. She would forever be marked as a sex offender, effectively tarnishing her future. Rest assured, the world is safer with Weaver behind bars. Number 5. Sandra Lane. In Detroit, Michigan, 17-year-old Jonathan Hoffman found himself entangled in a tragic argument that would forever change his life. A heated dispute between grandson and grandmother over his drug use takes a sinister turn. Sandra Lane, the 75-year-old grandmother, surprises everyone when she pulls out a loaded 9mm Glock and fires 6 shots at her own grandson. The horrifying incident unfolded with Hoffman desperately trying to call for help, but Sandra's rage was relentless, and she fired the final fatal shot while he was on the phone. In court, the drama continued as Sandra claimed self-defense, causing a deep divide among the family members. Some rallied behind her, while others, like her own daughter, labeled her as pure evil. The emotional turmoil reached a peak when her daughter's heart-wrenching comments reduced Sandra to tears, but she remained adamant about acting in self-defense, even though the jury saw it differently. Ultimately, Sandra Lane was sentenced to 20 to 40 years in prison, which, given her age, is a virtual life sentence. The repercussions of her actions have forever altered the lives of both the victim and the perpetrator, leaving a haunting reminder that the line between love and fury can be frighteningly thin. Number 6. Kamiya Gaetz. Meet Kamiya Gaetz, a woman whose horrifying crimes left us all in shock. After brutally murdering her boyfriend, Marcel Hill, in a truly gruesome manner, including 11 stab wounds and attacks with a frying pan, lap, and even a table, Gaetz had the nerve to claim it was all self-defense. Her defense, however, crumbled as the evidence stacked up against her. In court, she proved to be anything but remorseful. Her provocativeness reached new heights as she dared to argue with the judge and make comments that left everyone stunned. The judge, unable to tolerate her disrespect, even threatened to add duct tape to her mouth, a gesture many in the courtroom would have cheered for. Even her own attorney had enough and urged the judge to do what needed to be done. And what was that? A life sentence without the possibility of parole, a fitting punishment for her heinous actions. But wait, it doesn't end there. Gaetz just couldn't resist pushing the judge's buttons one last time. In a shocking turn of events, the judge finally lost his cool, voicing his agreement with the victim's family, hoping she would spend the rest of her life behind bars. With that said, thank you for watching. Be sure to hit that subscribe button and stay tuned for more.